Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Deconversion Stories. Unfortunately, we couldn't find a set of headphones for Jay, so you might hear a bit of an echo from time to time, but just try to ignore it. But anyways, Jay, first of all, thanks for being my guest for today. And
Sure.
what I do here is I usually talk to people about their journeys away from whatever belief systems they were once part of. So I kind of go into that sort of thing. I know you probably weren't into too much, but we'll get into that, and then we'll get into talking about your channel as well, I think, later on. So
Sounds like a plan.
Basically, kind of take us back on the journey that you had finding your way out of whatever belief system it was you were in.
Well, to be honest, I mean, it was a pretty painless deconversion in comparison to probably most everybody else you've ever had on your show, which is why I figure this will be a quick 5 minutes and then we're off to the after party. Honestly, it happened when I was, late single digits, early double. Basically, I have memories of going to church, never being completely interested in it. And honestly, from a young age, I kind of, I've always been a bit of a loner. So my thing is, and forgive me, I seem to be looking away. I can't, I'm distracted by the television. My monitor, if you will, in order to, just look at how gorgeous I am. In case you didn't know, my name is Jay Petersen, and I'm Canada's most pretentious blue collar. So hence the self-deprecating arrogance you're going to hear from time to time, mostly, actually, really. Anyway, so where was I? Oh, right, young. I've always been sort of a solitary kid, and as a result, honestly, it wasn't so much I didn't buy in as it held very little interest to me because it involved people I didn't know who seemed strange. And of course, at the time, I wouldn't have known the word zealot, but I mean, if you've been in a church, some people take that stuff really seriously.
They do.
They do. They're into it. It's their jam. And I don't know. Something about it never quite seemed right. So when as a family we stopped going to church, it wasn't something I felt any interest at all in following up on.
Really?
Basically, yeah. I mean, it was. Well, it wasn't pushed by my father, much, but his family was the one that went to church.
Right, they were the religious ones.
His parents, his sisters to this day, which actually kind of made me angry because he kind of reconverted right before he passed. Out of fear, I feel, but
it can happen.
Well, he wasn't his last going off, his last 6 months were particularly unpleasant. So, he might have just been hedging his bets.
So waiter.
Well, when you're a couple of days away, what the hell, right?
Yeah.
If it's true, well, he's probably going to find out that God isn't nearly as forgiving as he thinks he is. And I figure if any of it's true, I'll end up in the same place he is. He already works the bar. So
fair enough.
And him and Satan are probably good friends, sitting down wearing beer hats, the ones with the cans and the hoses.
Yeah.
He was that kind of guy. So, he would have made his own place, downstairs, so to speak.
Sure.
But yeah, so it was never really strongly pushed by him growing up, and my mother seemed to be rather indifferent to the whole thing. So, it wasn't something that was actively encouraged by the immediate family, and the aunts and uncles. They just kind of let it ride.
Mhm.
So,
right on.
like I said, the quick 5 minutes off the after party.
You say you're a blue collar worker. So what is it that you do for a living?
I drive trucks for a living.
Oh, right on.
I for about 8.5 years before that, I was part of the owning class.
Okay.
I had my own small business back east in Nova Scotia.
Mm-hmm.
That's not east on the screen. That's east. Anyway.
Just say east. Everyone knows.
Yeah, just on the East Coast. Stop pointing. The pointing is irrelevant.
yeah, and it's all backwards on this thing. You have to get used to.
This is a problem with talking with your hands too much. You see.
You sure you weren't Jewish?
I do a lot of this, and I want to do this and this and this. But yeah, back in Nova Scotia, I had a small business for about 8.5 years. Another one of those many decisions I made that made me miserable, but I was good at, so I did.
Right.
But yeah, now I left Nova Scotia. I'm currently in Alberta. Maritimer coming west. Stereotype.
To Canada's Texas.
Yeah, Canada's Texas. Yeah. And who would have thought I would have been appalled by the things that happened out here? But wow, we could get into that too. But anyway, so I came out here in the winter of 2013 after spending a couple of months longer than I should have. Nothing went easy. 2012, right at the end of 2012, that's when my father passed away, and he passed away a couple of days before my schooling was supposed to start for getting my license. But then school got put off by another month.
Mm-hmm.
Because for some reason they couldn't find a second student. That's all they needed. They needed 2 people to have the course. I was the only one signed up in September, so I had to wait till October to start with the driving school. And then it just they put me with an instructor who had heart problems, and we lost a couple weeks because of that. It's a whole thing. But yeah, long story short, I came out here to drive truck. And the first 5.5 years or so, I worked in oil field transport, driving pretty much everything from flat decks to vans to various styles of tanker up and down the sides of mountains to get to all of those drill sites we hear so much about.
Right. Like all the fracking places and stuff like that?
Not so much fracking. A lot of the stuff that I was involved in involved actually putting new holes in the ground.
Okay.
Like fresh drill sites.
Right.
So, there were some sites that involved the fracking. That a lot of that actually came later, because one of my last jobs, actually no, not one of the last job that I had in the oil field was with an acid hauling company, and acid is actually a pretty large component in the fracking process. So that was pretty much what this company existed to do. It was they hauled acid to frack sites.
Right.
It aids in the breaking up and the dissolution of the areas where they've done the fracking. It's not so much used under the pressurization area. It's meant to help clean it out.
Right.
So it'll release the gas or, oil, as it were.
Right.
Depending on what site you're on. And now actually I do highway haul between Edmonton and Grand Prairie.
Oh, okay.
And oddly enough, I actually make more money doing that than I ever did in the oil field. So, but unfortunately, with most things, I actually, I like this job. I like the driving. I enjoy being on the road and whatnot. But like with most things in my life, I decided to get into it on the tail end.
Mm-hmm.
So I came out here in 2013. 2014 saw something of a slowdown. 2015 was when the price crashed, and it never quite recovered after that. I mean, they tried in 2016. I got laid off from a job in March of 2016. I got hired back by the same company 4.5 months later. So I had it easier than most, mainly because you always need transport.
Yep.
So when things start going again, you need drivers.
Yep.
Right. So I was fortunate enough that I was good enough at my job, and I liked the people I worked with, and they liked me. So when the opportunity came back for getting back into a truck, you know, they basically said, "Can you be here tomorrow?" Now, of course, at the time I was in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. So I said, well, no, but if you can give me a week, I can shut down everything I've started here and come back out. Because they were actually at that point desperately looking to restock their driver fleet. So I was fortunate. A lot of people never got the jobs back. And a lot of people now, between the price of gas, the general unfortunateness going on with I don't know. Can we mention the thing that's been happening for the last year? Are we in a demonetized kind of situation there?
I wouldn't even worry about it.
You know, I'll call it the India Pale Ailment.
The India Pale Ailment?
The India Pale Ailment. Well, I mean, some people have been called. Well, it's based on a beer, right? Yeah. Corona. So you know. British call it the lager loogie.
No.
So, you know, I'm from Nova Scotia, and, you know, Alexander Keith's is an India Pale Ale, so why not an India Pale Ailment? There you go. Good man.
Well, it's a decent
funny
beer.
Story. My grandfather used to work for them back east. He was a supervisor in a brewery. He used to produce that stuff.
Wow, cool.
On my mother's side.
I don't mind it. Alexander Keith's. It's pretty good. It's
it's probably not quite as good. Well, maybe it depends on where it's made. Back east, the water. See, I wish I was more scientifically literate sometimes, because the water here is different than the water back in Nova Scotia.
Yep.
And it's different again in British Columbia.
Yep. Yeah.
And I don't understand how 2 molecules of hydrogen and 1 molecule of oxygen can taste so bloody different from one spot to another, just
Depends
because
on
of where it came
content.
out of the ground.
Depends
I'm guessing
on
it's minerals and other such magic.
Yeah.
But
it's not magic.
Yeah, like the Keiths I've had out here doesn't taste quite the same as the Keiths from the East Coast. Yeah. So chances are you're probably good, because the water probably came out of the mountains.
It is. It is.
Yeah. So anyway, okay, so we've talked enough about beer.
You can never talk enough about beer. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean,
the other one I was drinking until I ran out of it was this one here, which is Grand.
Well, we're not. I mean, if we. Oh, there you go. That's actually not bad. I've had that stuff before.
It's really good.
It's not bad.
It's got some good flavor to it, I think. But yeah,
I'm totally blanking on his name right now, but I watch his stuff out at Hops Watch. There you go. Shout out to
Hops Watch. Yeah.
I mean, if we wanted to talk about beer, you should have brought him on stream.
I've had him on. I've had him on the show.
I think you'd never get him off.
No, we always have a good time when he's on. I had him on actually quite some time back. We've been friends for a while now, so. But I kind of want to. I kind of have some questions I want to ask you that aren't related to the whole beer or the trucking.
Okay.
It goes back to the religion thing again. But you say you were growing up. You didn't really have much of an interest in going to church. But were you like forced to go to church at specific times? Or?
I would say. I mean, like, it wasn't something I was into. I'll be honest with you. Like, it's funny because I'm thinking about doing a series of videos about this, because when I think about it long enough, I can remember more of my childhood. But it's funny, if I just try to recall things,
Mm-hmm.
nothing immediately comes back to me. It never does. So, like, the more I will talk about something, or not well, the more I talk about it, the more I think about it, it's almost like there's more little bits and snippets will come back, but like specific details, don't really remember. But I do remember, it wasn't something I jumped out of bed and said, yeah, let's go to church, Jesus is awesome.
Yeah.
That was never my thing. It was more like, all right, can we get this over with? Because, like, I've got a bike to
Shit
ride.
to do. Yeah.
Like, I got a bike to ride, and there's like roads and stuff to ride on, and or read a book, or honestly sleep.
Right.
But it the more I think about it, I kind of feel like the reason the immediate family, like mom and dad and sister and I,
Mm-hmm.
the reason we were going to church was because, as a family unit,
Mm-hmm.
we were expected by the rest of the family
Right.
to go.
Sure.
They were, so it felt like we were kind of all coerced into going to try to make other people happy. So
Interesting.
that's why it probably didn't stick for me, and why I don't have huge memories of like participating in church events. Sunday school, I know I went. I have no idea what we did. I honestly, I have more memories of being in Boy Scouts.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, it's been, I can't even remember what they call it here. If it's Boy Scouts, like whatever it was the base level. I was never really into that either. So
Cub Scouts.
Cubs. There you go. Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I was a Cub Scout too, for like until they figured out I was like an ass, and then they kicked me out of there.
I'm not sure I was an ass. I think I was just, I think from an early age, I was simply an unaffected youth. Like, I just didn't give up.
Yeah, me either.
I didn't give a flying flip about much.
Well, they wanted us to go on like a 10-kilometer walk. I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind?
10-kilometer walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No. Walk for Jesus? Yeah.
No, yeah. Well, I think Cub Scouts were religiously affiliated. So.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, 10-kilometer walks. Yeah, they're preparing you for a life in the army.
Pretty much. Yeah.
If you think this is great, wait till you get to do it with a 50-pound rucksack.
Yeah. I've done that too, but yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. I tried once. They lost my medical, and then I found a job. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
How did they lose your medical? Like, what?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know. Okay. I think we're on a tangent now, so I'll tell you. Quick, the Coles Notes version. The parents told me I needed a job.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the options was applying. Now, it wasn't, to be fair, it was the reserves, not full military. So it would have been like what is it, 1 weekend a month, and then 2 or 3 weeks in the summer or something like that. But it would have been a job. Would have, provided me with some income and taught me responsibility and all that stuff. I shouldn't shake my head now, because, it took me until I actually came out here and had no social or financial safety net to actually learn what responsibility was. But where was I going with this? Right. That was a mental derailment, people. It still is. Okay. So, yes, Coles Notes. So I went, I applied. I did the whole, there was like an interview phase, and yeah, so like there was an interview phase, and there was the medical, then there was the bikini contest, and somewhere in there they lost
Did you win that one?
my medical. At the time, I think I placed pretty well. I had a pretty great ass when I was younger, so like that helped. Unfortunately, A cups, so not so much of a top, but a bottom. Ha! With the jokes. Oh, and they're so bad. Anyway, so I went and I did all of that. They did, turn your head and cough, and that was all lots of fun. And then they called me back one day and said, "We have unfortunately misplaced your medical report. Can you come back in on such and such a date?" And it was like, are you kidding me? I got to go through all of that again? Because I'll be honest with you, the medical was, uncomfortable. I think today you would call it invasive even. But
probably.
So I did intend to do that again, but then I got a phone call for an interview for what was called an assistant waiter position at a restaurant on the harbor front in Halifax. Well, actually, it was on the Dartmouth side, but it was on Halifax Harbor. And I got that job. So
that's all right.
By the time the appointment came up, I just, I'm sorry. I have since acquired other more interesting employment. So, and they didn't lose my medical. So
Yeah.
I felt like at the bare minimum, they were slightly better organized at the restaurant than they were with the reserves. And as it turns out, that was a great year to actually have that job because, among other things, they used to have hydroplane races in the harbor. They did it only for a few years, but this was one of those years. So I was working in a restaurant on the waterfront that was being used by Toshiba because they were supplying the computers and the typing that year.
Mm-hmm.
So the restaurant for the whole weekend was basically a hospitality suite for Toshiba. So like they had rented out the whole place. We were just serving food for the people that were coming in. Everybody was out sitting on the deck that surrounded it. And hydroplane racing all day long out in the harbor.
Cool.
Probably one of the cooler jobs I've had. So anyway, okay, Cole's notes on that done. The light military lost my medical, and I guess I lost out on traveling the world, but I got to see hydroplane races, and that was cooler as a 16-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely. Were you under any pressure at all from like your relatives that were the faithful, we'll call them? Did any of them try to pressure you guys into doing more at the church?
Individually, no.
That
was one of the nice things. It was like they were religious, but they weren't preachy about it.
Okay.
I think we did have some that lived like outside of the city that took it a little more seriously, but I never felt judged for not going or not attending.
Okay, that's good.
So, I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I've had a much more boring interaction with religion than most people. It was just sort of, it was presented as an option. None of us really took it all that seriously. And as the older we got, the more silly it seemed. So, what a surprise.
Were you guys at least believers at that time, or
what's that? Sorry.
Were you guys like believers at that time? Like, did you
Oh God, no, I don't
God?
think anybody, I honestly don't. I like the aunts and the uncles, I think they were believers, but they weren't the kind of, if you don't believe like I believe, you got to leave.
Right.
So it was never, there were no contingencies put on their love. Like, I'm not going to love you anymore if you're not religious. That was never a thing.
Right.
Which is good, because to this day, my aunts on my father's side, they are still religious. They do talk about it, but it's not like, have you got 15 minutes to talk about our Lord and Savior every time you see them, right? So I will say this: the older I get, the more I do seem to dislike religion.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've all seen what kind of harm it can cause.
Well, see, that's the thing, right? I'm not a theologian by any means. I've got my high school, I've got business admin diploma from a community college, and I've got my commercial driver's license. That's pretty much my level of education. But anybody can see the damage. Like, pick a religion other than maybe Buddhism, and even then, I think the self-immolation probably wasn't a good thing.
Well, there's other things within Buddhism that could be considered harmful, like they believe in.
But I mean, like, I don't think they I'm reasonably certain they didn't traipse across continents trying to wipe each other out.
No,
Christians and Muslims seem to like to do to this day. Shout out to Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
It's like, there's an aside there, but it seems like they're trying to wipe out the Christians again in Armenia.
Mm-hmm.
They're fun.
Okay.
But yeah, so no, well, I follow a couple of comedian / political types on YouTube, and one of them recently did a video about one of their local politicians actually being a big fan of Azerbaijan, which they found ironic because this guy's ultra right-wing Christian, and Azerbaijan is currently, I guess, in a stalemate right now with Armenia over the region of Nagorno-Karabakh.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually have a pop song that's titled Fire. And it's basically about wiping out Christians. It's a pop song, and it's actually rated in Azerbaijan on their charts.
Wow.
Yeah. So, there's that. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of religion. It seems like the older I get, like I've been atheist, I would say, most of my life, regardless of what Greg Locke says about atheists. I do not believe.
Right.
Apparently, I have been aggressively moving towards anti-theism. I don't so much hate the people that practice religion.
It's not about the people.
It's not about the people. It's about the system they believe in.
It's about the religious.
I have a problem with the way they were indoctrinated from a young age. I have a problem with the way most religions actually seem to preach one thing and actually practice another. It's the hypocrisy. Plus, like in more than a few instances, how anybody can read a Bible and think any of that happened is beyond me.
Yeah.
I wrote better fiction as a kid in junior high. And it blows my mind that adults believe in this stuff. Not only that, but the number of people I find amazing, the number of people who actually go to church and have not read the Bible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's many. They just they stick to whatever the preacher.
They just assume that the preacher's telling them.
Yeah,
and that's the end of it. Like, what the hell is that about? It's too easy. It seems to be almost, in some places, it's too easy to get people hooked on this stuff. I'm talking about it like it's a drug, but I mean, it almost really is.
Well, for some, it can be. So a lot of people feel like they can't live without it, which is nonsense.
Yeah. If anything, if there's one thing I can prove in my life is that you can live without religion.
Oh, of course you can.
You know, like that is an entirely possible thing. But anyways, yeah, so there you go. Wasn't really big into it as a kid, haven't been big into it since. Atheist going anti-atheist. You know, I'm not militant about that, but ooh.
You mean anti-theist, not anti-atheist.
Yes, I mean anti-theist.
Right.
Good catch. Good
Yeah,
catch.
he's right. It's like a crutch.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm just, I just, blow it all up.
Yeah,
take everybody down. It's just a mess. We'll start over. Yes, so anti-theist. Actually, another reason I was thinking about this today. Have you been following this week what was going on between Capturing Christianity and Paul Gia?
I've seen a little bit of it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Basically, Cameron and this guy, Dr. Andrew Loke, got together and did a 3.5 hour long Facebook live stream, I guess.
Yeah, well, it was on YouTube too.
Okay, and hacked apart one of Paul Gia's videos, saying that he was cutting and pasting and misrepresenting what was being said, and surprise, that's not actually what was happening. As it turns out, they were the ones cutting and pasting and misrepresenting what was said. Paul did a video on it. Actually, I think there's going to be like another video or two with regards to this, but yeah, these two went out of their way to try to misrepresent what Paul was saying and sell that as the truth.
Which Cameron does that kind of shit all the time.
Yeah, well, Cameron got caught in it. Cameron actually ended up posting on Twitter an apology to Paul. Really? He really did. Which, I'll give him credit for at least having enough self-awareness to recognize that he got caught, but he did it in the first place. Damage is done. Anybody who watches Cameron at this point has probably already seen. Anybody watch that live stream? I'd be willing to bet most of them are going to go forward thinking that anything that Paul Gia does is full of shit and hacked up because of what they did with this live stream.
Right.
Because that's great. He said sorry, but that's the whole, it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission, right?
Yeah.
He's already put that bad information out into the system. People have already seen it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people giving him credit. I give him credit for being self-aware. I can't be fussed about his apology, though. I can't. No. Because he did it in the first place. Knowing full, if he didn't know, then he's lazy with actually checking the information before he did the live stream, which means, intellectually, that's kind of, that's Ben Shapiro levels of dishonesty. Just putting shit out there, seeing what sticks. But
yeah, but apparently Cameron left the fucking video up too.
Well, see, that's the other thing, right? That's it. You can apologize all you want, but it's just a wank.
Yeah, exactly. You should be taking it down. You should say, "Oh man, I'm really sorry that I did that, and I will take it down." But he didn't do that.
I mean, that would be the honest thing to do. But instead, he apologized and then says he's going to discuss it with Dr. Andrew Loke in their live stream on Monday. So it'll be interesting to see what the good doctor. I don't know what his doctorate's in, but I'm guessing he doesn't like cut people up, or
he's not a doctor
or treat children. No, I'm thinking he's probably a doctor, like Kent Hovind is a doctor. So.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then you're familiar with Otangelo Grasso, are you?
I've heard the name.
He pops in from time to time, and he's always trying to get debates going with people. It's like, dude, this isn't what my show's about, so you can't do that here. But he said, well, you got to see this video. He left this video of people like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye, Mr. Spock, who's a fictional character, which I think was hilarious, but and others of that ilk, saying things that he thinks that they believe in God, right? But I tuned into this video. I made it through maybe 15 minutes of it, not even, and it's pieced together bullshit.
Well, of course it is.
Because they just have pictures of them. If he'd actually had the video of them saying these things, but it's just their pictures with, you can totally hear it too. Total shit editing of pieced together fragments of sentences that were put together to make it sound like they're believers. Like the worst one was the Spock one. Like you could hear the different shows.
The more I'm thinking about the name, I'm trying to remember where I recognize it from. Is he a regular caller to the
He's been bad.
The atheist, what is it? The Atheist Association? The Atheist Experience. He calls in there like what, once every other week?
He's been banned from calling.
Oh, okay. That's where I know him from.
Yeah, he's been banned from. He's not allowed to call them anymore. Or if he tries to, they always catch him, and he's not allowed to.
Yeah, no, that's probably for the best, because he just gets belligerent.
Oh yeah,
he starts off all right, but then it escalates. Yeah, I'm familiar with Otangelo. Yeah, that's
yeah, he's a piece of work, that guy. But
yeah, he's probably not somebody who should be trying to do conversion.
No,
because he's not good at it.
No, he's not. No, especially giving me a link to that video was like,
if he was trying to sell Jesus to me at a dealership, I'd be walking out the door, because your product is clearly bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, quick shout out again to Apologia. This was a shirt that he did a few months back.
No,
and actually, it's a quote that he put, or that was in one of his videos, and I liked it so much when I saw it. I think I tweeted to him once. It's like, this needs to be on a T-shirt, and the next thing you know, it was on a store, so I bought it.
That's Carl Sagan.
There's more on the back. Like the full quote's actually on the back, but
yep, I'm familiar with it.
This isn't that kind of a show. I'm not showing my ass. So
wait till the later hours.
Yeah.
When things get crazy. No, that's a Carl Sagan expression that I use to close out my after parties. Is that exact one?
Gotcha. It was like, welcome to Neil After Dark.
Yeah.
Naughty Neil's after party.
Naughty Neil. Uh-oh. I think we're on to something. So we have, actually today he's going by the name Miguel for some reason, but my producer Mikey is in the back room. Actually, he was a little late today. He had to get out of work. Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. From Mikey. Have you ever had anyone witness to you since deconverting?
Yeah. Actually, oddly enough, here in Grand Prairie, actually, I would say it was close to, not quite, but almost.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of really good friends here in town, and one of them, not I wouldn't say it was abuse of alcohol. I would say enthusiastic use of alcohol, and deciding that she needed to ratchet it down. She became very spiritual.
Okay.
So every once in a while it would pop up in conversation that, it was like, I would say light. It was like a light touch kind of, Jesus is good and all of that stuff. But like it doesn't last long. She doesn't dwell on it. So it's I would say it dances on the line, but maybe not quite. Frankly, given where I live, I'm kind of surprised because there are more churches in this city than Tim Hortons.
What?
Yeah. Holy Dude, there are almost as many churches in this town as liquor stores. Okay. It's nuts, the number of religious institutions that are in this town. Like, we are talking, if we were to tax the churches, chances are it would be a significant bump in the city's finances.
Wow.
There are that many pieces of property. And they're large. They're not small pieces of property. Like, you could build decent sized condos or like probably like a half dozen single family dwellings on a lot of these lots. Like, they're huge.
Right.
They're in it's nuts.
But I mean, Grand Prairie's not really that big.
Well, I mean, it's 70,000 people, and Alberta doesn't do anything small.
Yeah, that's true too.
So
that's true.
But I mean, it's basically it's not big, but it's not small. It's like I said, it's about 70,000. Plus, you've got to consider that probably within like 15 or 20 minutes, you've got like another half dozen satellite communities.
Mm-hmm.
And so you probably do get a little bit of cross-pollination, because even though the smaller communities also do have at least one church, you're going to have people who said, well, I don't like that brand, I like this brand.
Of course.
Sure. I don't want to go to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I want to go to the Reach. Or I want to go to, just name one. Basically, like, name a brand, we have it.
A brand. It's funny because
Alberta, home of big box religion.
Yeah, big box. I mean, people not liking a certain branch of it, I guess. That's always kind of blown me away.
It's like, a bit ridiculous.
How many?
You're all believing the same imaginary stuff. So what does it matter?
Right. Like, how many denominations do you? I mean, what someone said once. I'm not sure on the validity of this, but
I've heard 33,000
plus.
Yeah,
different.
I've heard more than 30,000 different variations just of Christianity.
Yeah. Well, there's multiple variations on multiple religions.
Right. It's ridiculous. You probably I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in the southern United States you've got Big Bob's Discount Church somewhere, which is probably just a tent in a parking lot with a guy who's literally big and named Bob.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different. There's a ton of different Christianity. There's a ton of different Christians who say the other Christians don't have it right.
No, of course.
Which blows my mind. It's like, oh yeah, no, that Christian, nah, he's talking out of his ass. I know the truth. And it's like, oh, do you?
Big Bob's Church and Lube.
There you go, Big Bob's Church and Lube.
Come on in, get your
I like that.
and your car.
I like that.
Oh boy.
Oh my God. I love that. I love that though. I love that. That's yeah. Let's see if any other people there in the chat. Let's start making up funny names at churches.
Save your soul and your transmission on a Sunday.
There you go. There you go.
It's about to actually bring him in, but I think he's getting up and walking away.
I'm used to that. That's my life in a life. I start talking, people get up, walk away.
Yep. No, he's getting up. He's walking.
Because sometimes I just speak absolute shite. Yeah, after this, let's all go down to the Blessed Church of Waffles and Pancakes.
Chicken and waffles. Church of Chicken and Waffles.
Church of Chicken and Waffles. There you go.
I could be on board with that one.
St. Denny's.
St. Denny's. What am I thinking? Of course, they have Denny's in the U.S.
Oh, we've got Denny's here.
Oh yeah, no, I know we do. We do.
Which is actually kind of a treat. They're not half bad.
No, they're not. My mom and I order from there on our Sunday brunches sometimes because I totally dig their moons over my hammy sandwich. So.
Oh, blessed be the moons over Miami.
Exactly. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
What do you say? I mean, you weren't really overly religious anyway, so I don't think there's really much more we can talk about in that respect. But I want to do a little bit before we go over to the after party. I want to ask you a little bit about what's your plans for your channel? Because
I don't know. I originally started to do it because I needed a hobby because the last year has been rubbish. I have been always, with the exception of alcohol being involved, typically I'm introverted. So get me lit up, forget about it. Like I'm the life of the party till I fall on my face. But I've always been a bit of an introvert. But the ironic thing about that is that the last year has shown that there's a difference between being isolated, being introverted, because being introverted, I'm not isolated. I'm choosing when to put myself into society. You know what I mean? Like I'm picking the moment when I'm going to go out and hang with friends or go out and see some people or try to date, whatever the situation is, right? And for the last year, it's actually been difficult even for me because it's not a choice anymore. I've got to stay away from people, otherwise there's a possibility that I might either contract or make somebody sick. I spend 6 days a week traveling between a city of 70,000 and a city with over 1.2 million people in it. I have to interact with warehouse employees on the other end who honestly through the whole thing have not been in several instances wearing masks, practicing proper hygiene. You know what I mean? Like I've literally during this pandemic been like hyper aware of things that are going around me, and just something as simple as going to the bathroom. I have watched people come into a bathroom at the warehouse behind me without a mask on, use a bathroom, and then leave, never having touched the sink. Okay, so I've been paranoid and concerned at the same time that I could pick something up. And I have a history of like when I get sick, I don't necessarily get sick myself, but I become a carrier. So I've been paranoid the whole time that I could have possibly picked this up at some point and I might spread it to people. So I stay the hell away from most everybody. Yeah. I haven't seen the handful of friends that I do have here in town. I literally haven't seen some of them in a year. And they're like a 5-minute drive away because I just don't want to take the chance that I could be a spreader or they might be a spreader, which, like I said, it's been difficult because before I'm choosing when I want to go out, but now I'm not because, COVID, India Pale Ailment, Lager Loogie, whatever you want to call it. So the channel was to kind of give me something to do to focus my mind. I've always been interested in like videography, like even from an early age, like not an early age, say my teens, in high school.
Right.
And honestly, as bad as the last year has been on a social psychological level, it has also literally been it's been the best year I've ever had financially, because work as a trucker, even for the company that I work for, has gone nuts. The volume of packages that we're moving this year has been insane because everybody's locked up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least people with, enough common sense to rub two pennies together are locked up.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, anti-vaxxers and non-mask wearers.
We call them mask holes.
Mask holes. Yeah, I call them idiots. I've been calling them idiots. Mask holes is actually much better.
COVID, anti-vaxxers, mask holes.
And yeah, exactly. Just, I have no patience or time for those people. I just don't. But since this year has actually been pretty good for me financially, it's like, okay, I can afford the mic, I can afford the boom, I can afford the camera, I can afford the software, I can upgrade my computer. I went from just having a laptop to a desktop. I'm probably going to be moving to something more powerful in the next 6 months, so I can get my editing done faster, because even the new computer can't quite keep up with the editing, with the shitty, paltry little bit of editing that I do now. My biggest problem is that I'm running up against a couple of things that I'm fighting against. One is that I'm not nearly as good as editing as I want to be.
Okay.
And that bothers me no end. Like I want to be able to create like a flash intro and cool graphics, and I just don't know how. I've been trying to work on it, but the other side of why I've been, so financially well off this year is that I'm working 6 days a week, 10, 12 hours a night, because I'm on the highway overnight moving freight. So typically this is my day off. What we're doing right now, this is I can do this because I'm not working tonight. And trying to manage time when I've only got maybe 12 hours, maybe 14 hours between I'm going back into the truck. Mm-hmm. Trying to find time, trying to get the filming done, at least get some editing done. And see, this is another problem. I've probably been setting goals that are a little too ridiculous, because I want to put out I'd like to be able to put out content at least twice a week, if not more. My problem is I'm not sure I can put the time together for that. The stuff I want to talk about, I don't have the time to research, which is really frustrating. I'll give you an example. This actually shut me down last month. I got so angry and then disappointed. Oh, we got another one in here. We're a threesome.
I have returned, and I'm not sick no more.
And he's got the gun show going on there.
Oh God, yeah. Put the guns away, boys. Anyway,
what's up?
So, there was a situation here in Alberta last month that really pissed me off, involving the provincial government, mm-hmm. And just the veritable cornucopia of lies that the premier was putting out with regards to the energy sector here.
Right.
And I knew I could call him out on all this shit. I knew he was wrong. The problem was, in order to show that he's wrong, I can't just say he's wrong. You've got to say it and then be able to provide the information. I didn't know how to find it all. I couldn't find it all. That made me angry. And then I started watching him continue on his press tour, spouting the same lies, and nobody was calling him on it. Nobody at CPAC, nobody at CTV, nobody. Well, I mean, okay, Power and Politics on CBC. That woman doesn't call anybody on their garbage. She never does.
Right.
She's like, people think Rosemary Barton is bad, but like, I can't even fathom how this person gets to be called like a political reporter when all she does is just bring people on, let them spout off, and
not say anything about it,
not challenge a damn thing, not come at them with anything. So like, I went from being angry to being frustrated to actually, I kind of got into like a funk for like a couple of weeks, because like, god damn it, like there's something I really want to do here with my channel. I am one guy. I'm working 60 to 70 hours a week. I don't know where to go to do the proper research. I don't have somebody who can, like I don't have the technical know-how to make the decent graphics, to build to make the thumbnails, and so like, I just sort of like this is, I started here, and it just,
if only there was a guy with like a network of nerds with laptops and computers who could assist you in all this. God, if we could just find them.
Well, see, this is the thing, right? Like, I don't know these people, and I see what you're doing, Miguel.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
I see what you're doing there.
I am goofy as I am goofy as shit right now. Hi, everybody. I've been very sickly, and I'm not sickly anymore, and I'm happy to be here. And we will talk in the after show. I got a whole bunch of people you can get in contact with and hook up with. Lighten the load, shall we say?
Fair enough.
Or help you streamline your process and get you where you can, because editing should take not very long. So getting your raw stuff should be the hard part, and then editing will be the easy part.
The funny thing, the raw stuff isn't the hardest thing, because I mean, look at me, I'm beautiful. I love being in front of the camera.
Hell yeah. That's all they're talking about in the chat. I don't know if you can see it. They're just
actually,
so humble.
They're just
the only thing, I
humble.
can't see the chat for some reason, but I'm
right.
assuming they're all raving about me.
Click the comments tab on the top right, and then you can see what everyone's saying about you. Everyone telling me quick.
You know what? Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to assume that they all think I'm fabulous, and I'll move on.
I had a question for you about your little deconversion story there.
Okay, yeah, hit me up.
So you said like the Bible was like kind of fiction, but it's like, oh, I can write better fiction. Do you write anything? Are you a writer at all? Do you like to write?
I probably should be. I should be. There's
that time thing again.
A lot of the videos that I've done to this point, it's basically, what's the phrase? I'm in the moment. I'm just free associating. No, that's not the word. That's not the word either. There is a term, and I can't think of it.
That's pretty close.
But
that's pretty close.
It's basically, I'm just off the top of my head. I get it. I get the idea. I think about it for a couple of days. I will make like verbal notes. Like I've got like an old cell phone that has like a memo recorder.
Oh, nice.
And I will verbalize some of the thoughts that I'm having in regards to whatever video it is. But ultimately, I never actually write anything down. I just kind of, I'm just going.
Like stories or anything like that, like science fiction. Are you a big science fiction guy?
I like science fiction, but no, I haven't. I'll be honest with you. I do. I am imaginative to a point, but I am simply not that original. I've been coasting on my looks, honestly, for 49 years now.
Me too.
I've just been, on the beauty that is Jay Petersen. I've just been coasting. So,
Drinking
I used to write. I remember I used to write a lot when I was like younger, like early teens. I used to write stuff.
What'd you write about?
It was science fiction.
I knew it. I knew it.
A lot of it was actually
space
It was centered around, well, obviously centered around space. How can you be science fiction and not be around space? But it was around space from the perspective of a Russian cosmonaut.
Interesting.
I know. Be honest with you, I've always been kind of fascinated with Russia. I don't know why. Like Russia and the Soviet Union. I don't know. For some reason,
you're a Cold War kid. You're a Cold War kid, so they were like the big baddie back in your youth.
Well, they were, but that had more to do with the leadership than the leadership in the military more than the people themselves, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because we're both like Canada and Russia / Soviet Union were northern countries, not necessarily entirely Nordic, but northern countries. But it seemed like I understood the pain behind their smiles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I could sort of sympathize. Like when a Russian smiles, it's almost more ironic than expressing like joy or happiness. You know what I mean?
Listen to how he's talking right now, and he can't write. My ass. Yeah,
I know, right? Like I said, it's this.
The Russian smile was almost ironic. Listen to
this has been getting me through life, man. I'm telling you, I've been coasting.
Oh man. Second question.
Wish I could say the same thing. But
Second question. You brought up riding bikes a couple of times.
I did. I'm actually sitting next to one.
Almost to the point. Were you a BMX rider?
No, man. Speed bikes. All day, every day.
Speed. So you got the little.
I was the BMX kid.
I wanted to be the BMX kid, and I couldn't get. I really wanted I wanted a dyno so bad. I wanted a Haro so bad, and my mom was like, "How much is that bike?"
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Move on.
$300. Like me $300. $300 for a fucking bike? What are you talking about?
No, I've always been about the feeling of pace, of speed. So as soon as I was able to get on something that could carry me at a reasonably quick rate, like I was all about that all day, every day. And speaking to your BMX analogy, I wanted at the time it was pretty much like the bike. It was a Miele.
Oh.
And the frames for a Miele, and at the time we were like, this was before carbon fiber really started getting into it and just sending prices to the stratosphere for things. An aluminum frame for a Miele speed bike could cost you $1,000, and then it would be like a couple $100 for wheels. The chains would cost you $100 or more. Pedals, 3 figures. Shifters, we're talking like stuff that shouldn't move as smooth as they do, but they did. Expensive. Like it could cost you $3,000 or $4,000. And today you're looking at, if you want a decent multi-speed bike, that just like a road going multi-speed bike that would be capable of competition, you're spending like 4 or 5 times that at least.
Yikes.
But yeah, that was the stuff I was into. I also had a brief foray into motorcycles. I still have I have a motorcycle endorsement on my license. So basically, I don't think there's anything I can't drive right now.
Let them know. Say it one more time for the people.
Which is kind of nice. I will say this.
You can't drive.
I will say this for anybody who's interested in riding motorcycles. If you don't have a license yet, do not start on a 600 sport bike.
Why?
That has an R in it. in its name.
Oh, no, mine was just
too much.
I jumped. I got my license with me and a friend of mine. We got our licenses in 2015. And then I got laid off in 2016. So I went back to Nova Scotia for a few months, and while I was there, I plunked down money on a CBR 600.
Oh, geez.
F4i. Now, okay, and I'll grant you that doesn't have an R in it, but it was still a 600cc engine with 110 horsepower.
CBR?
It was a CBR 600. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I suppose it does have an R in it. Look at that.
It's not a beginner bike. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the second time. Jesus.
No, don't.
See, this is what happens when you get old and you just rely on your appearance, right? Like your brain has not properly formed because you're all about your looks. I know, and so incredibly humble too. It's just I'm the whole package. I'm the whole package. I'm awesome.
Guys.
I'm just awesome.
Guys.
I know. See, this is another reason. See, this is why I actually wanted to have my channel, because like personally I think I'm a little bit funny. So, maybe not comedian level funny, but I think I can make people at least laugh at me, if not with me. So, either way, a laugh is a laugh.
We'll start there.
But yeah, that CBR 600 F4i, oh my God, was that a nice bike. I like that bike. I only ever dropped it once. Didn't do any major damage, roughed up the fairings a little bit, and it was a stupid mistake. But again, rookie driver. But I had the bike maybe 2.5 months. I went on a ride with my friends Scott and Kevin. Kevin had one of those, lounge bikes, for lack of a better phrase. Like it was a Japanese fake Harley. So
like the
relaxed driving position. And I had a 600, and my buddy had his Yamaha 1000 cc naked. And I got caught behind traffic somewhere driving through the middle of the province, and those two buggered off. And I decided this was a good time to find out just how fast the bike could go, never having cracked it wide open before. I sold the bike about 2 weeks later. I have never been so exhilarated and so scared in all my life. It was disturbing how fast this bike was. And it's, like I said, not a full-on race bike. This thing only had 110 horsepower. But I mean, only on a bike that weighed 400 pounds. So
400 pounds plus you. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. 400 pounds plus me. So like at the time that would have been like 650, because I kind of put some weight on. But I went from like 50 kilometers an hour to somewhere north of 230 inside of about 3.5 seconds. The bike had 2 power bands, and I hit them every time in 3 years. It went from there was a power band that kicked in at 6,000, and then another one that kicked in at 10.5, and it went to 12.5, before hitting red line. So it was like every gear I was holding it wide open, and it was hitting me twice before I shifted. And then it would hit me twice again. It was like nonstop acceleration. I ran my friends down in probably less than 20 seconds. They were a good 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers ahead of me when I started. I literally lost view of them until I decided, I'm going to see how fast this bike is. And then I found myself immediately afterwards in an existential crisis thinking, if I keep driving this, I'm going to die.
Yep.
Because 1, scary. 2, I liked it.
Oh, that's the bad part.
See, that was the bad part.
I need more motorcycle stories in the after party for sure.
Oh, buddy, that's the only one. Like I said, I had that bike 2.5 months, and then no, I sold it. And then actually, it turns out about 3 weeks after I sold it, I was back out here in Alberta. So, which is, again, this would be another bad place. This would be an even worse place, because as Nova Scotia has a lot of really great driving roads elevation changes, lefts and rights, going up hills, through valleys, that kind of thing, right?
Been there.
Most of Alberta,
Flat. Big sky country, they call it.
that's all it is, with the occasional down into a valley and then back up again. But, and this would kill me. Because I'd end up buying a bike and I'd go for a ride, and then the next thing you know is, you know what, this would be a lot more fun if I was going faster. And the next thing you know, I kill myself doing 220 into the side of a moose. or if I'm going up towards Peace River and elk. Gotta include all the large wildlife.
How exotic.
Exactly.
Oh, I know, right? I know.
Take us home, Neil.
But yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, what I'm doing with my channel, honestly, I have no idea. At this point, I have a feeling what I'm going to be doing for the next little bit is talking a lot about myself.
All right.
Personal experiences, life experiences, stuff like that, because that's the one thing that I actually know something about.
Well, one would hope.
I know a lot about me.
Well, everyone's favorite topic is themselves.
Well, I mean, when you're this fantastic, how could it not be my favorite topic? But, yeah, I want to get, I haven't been making a lot lately because I've been trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to do with what I want to do with it. Honestly, I have fun when I'm producing it, even though I only have like 18 subscribers. It's not really about the subscribers. I'm one of them. I will probably never hit a point where I get monetized, earn any money, have sponsorships thrown at me. I'm not really doing it for that. I just I like the process of making a video. Plus, again, I like the way I look on screen. So, all right. But anyway, so I think Miguel wants us to wrap up.
Miguel,
we got to get this cracker off the air.
Get out of my mind.
That's exactly.
This guy's so white. He's making Casper go, damn.
Dude, turn it down a bit.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know, right? I'm so white. I got to wear shades.
Well, Jay, thanks, man, for joining me today. It's been a pleasure having you on.
It's been fun. It gave me something to do today that I probably,
other than
a couple of years ago, probably wouldn't have done just because I was stuck in my own head for a while. So it's nice to get out, but you have to be in to understand.
Well, I'm glad you decided to do this. I know I prodded you a little bit to come and do it, but you eventually came.
Well, I didn't want you to lose control of your channel because of all this fabulousness, right? Like I was thinking about you, Neil.
Right. Well, I appreciate that.
Considerate. That's just considerate.
Well, this is it, right? Like, my ego is so big, it just push you out. And Miguel's got nothing for that. Okay.
Mikey, I don't know, man. But look at that.
Whoops. You were doing it.
I'm the world's most extroverted introvert. Yeah.
Yeah, there you are.
There you are.
As Mikey was just about to bring up, thanks to all my amazing patrons. You guys are what keeps the show going and improving. Hopefully it's improving, but I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Also, don't forget that very soon Randolph and I are starting up our own call-in show called True North Talk. So go over to the channel and give us a subscription there, or if you want, you can go to our website, www.truenorthtalk.ca, and the link will be to the YouTube channel will be there as well. So actually
TNT. Nice.
True North Talk TNT. Yeah, it was kind of our little logo's a barrel too that says TNT on it. So
nice.
Also, on Wednesdays, normally, I do a show called The Nonprofits. I haven't been on the last couple just because of things that have come up. But anyways, you can catch myself and many of the other awesome hosts on The Nonprofits, which is one of the properties of the ACA. It usually goes to 3 p.m. Central Time between Talk Heathen and the Atheist Experience. So head over to the Nonprofits channel if you haven't subbed already. Give them a sub, and you can catch me and other great, fantastic hosts as well. Martin, who was actually popped into the chat a little while ago. He's one of the hosts as well. And the last Saturday of every month, which was today, actually, at 2 p.m. Pacific time, Andy, Seamus, myself, and usually a guest. Mikey has been a guest. Today we had a fellow all the way from Holland on there named James, who was a guest with us. And next week, someone really cool is coming on.
Who is it?
I'm not allowed to tell.
Oh, come on.
Not allowed to tell. It's from Utahcast. Not allowed to tell.
Gazoon type, by the way.
Yeah. But yeah. Usually they're surprise guests. But yes, X will be joining us for the next one. And anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We are doing the after party. The link to it is in the description below. You can also find Jay's Twitter link below and also his YouTube channel link below as well if you want to go and stalk him in those places. All right. But until then, guys,
it's not stalking if it's consensual.
That's right. That's right. So until next time, guys, like I always say at the end of the interviews, like the late great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.